Hello, my fellow carbon-based units. I hope you'll forgive me if today is a little bit of a rant. I have to get this off my chest, if for no other reasons for my own mental health. I just got to get this out. So I'm calling it. The globalists have won, and our lives are never going to be the same. So let's talk about this. Okay, so it will not be any surprise to you out there, especially if you're an American, but even if you're anywhere in the world, that the borders of America are pretty much non-existent right now. We have an open border, and floods of humanity have been coming through. And make no mistake, this is by design. The globalists have been working on this for an awful long time. They're organized and they are making it happen. Now, it's true that these marching orders come from an elite class of people, mostly out of the United Nations and the WEF. But just because someone is a globalist does not mean that they are not in the United States. We have many globalists right inside of our own government. Our administration is packed full of globalists. They do not like the values that America stands for. They hate America. Globalists want a one world system, and they despise the idea that one country can be so prosperous and so free. So they're determined to take us down a notch. And part of the process involves flooding America with masses of humanity from countries that have failed. They're failed countries. Now, it's true that the vast majority of the people coming over our borders are from Central and South America. And every single country in that part of the world is a socialist country. It's just a matter of degree. They're all socialists. And no matter how bad their world get, they keep electing socialists. The world, pretty much all of your socialist country, they're fleeing misery. And it's really kind of funny. These socialist cities now that are starting to have people bust to them are amazed and surprised at what this is doing to their community. Let's take a look at a few reports.
So now the anchor in is to the maximum capacity at $300,000 a month. So you took these hotel owners. Now remember, the hotel owners sign up for this. They put themselves in like, we want to do this.
Of course, they want to make money.
So now they went from $0 to 300 grand a month to do by day. Remember, they cannot hold jobs. If they get a job, a small business owner offers them a job and somebody rats out the small business owner, that's a $10,000 fine. Yeah. $10,000. Who's going to take that chance? With small business on the brink of dying, you're going to hire somebody at the risk of somebody ratting you out? No. Families.
Councilman, I got to ask, though, you talked about the money. The Bloomberg reports this is costing New York City $8 million a day. As part of the city council, why would you guys not just completely do away with the right to shelter?
But the big thing here is everybody, I think it's time for the mayor to re-examine the sanctuary city status. Because, or turn the buses around. This is not a temporary situation we're in. This is permanent.
Okay, so news alert. When you have a flood of humanity who show up in your doorstep and you have to provide for them, it costs money. And your neighborhoods are never going to be the same. Your children can't go to parks anymore because the parks are, encampments of homeless people. And the reason why I say that they've won is these people are not going anywhere. I mean, once they're here, you're not going to get them out. And our own government is facilitating this. You got tuberculosis or scabies, and you're going to have a hard time making it to America? No problem. We'll send down some beautiful, modern, air-conditioned buses to bring you on up. And if you're coughing and hacking your disease all over everyone else in the bus and anyone within, 20 feet of you, it's okay. No worries. We'll figure that out later. Just come on in. You don't have any money in your pocket? No problem. The United Nations have a nice little debit card loaded with dough on it for you to cover your expenses. And what's the big deal? You want to take your children to a local park, but you can't because it is an encampment for homeless people? Hey, that's your problem. Listen, you leftist cities, Chicago, Denver, New York, LA, Seattle. How's that socialism working out for you? You know what, everyone? I think it's a really good idea if we make our city a sanctuary city. So once somebody gets to our city from some foreign country, they're here for good and they're on the dole. You want free healthcare? Here you go. You want a nice education for your kids? Here you go. Forget the fact that now teachers have to, instead of teaching their usual class, they have to spend all their time teaching the new kids English. so that the standardized testing scores for everyone else in the school go down and suffer. And that's just all part of being part of the global community, right? And you're a veteran who served your country and you're falling on hard times. Well, I'm sorry, we got to put you out of the hotel we're putting you up in to make room for the people coming in from other countries. Let's take a look at this report.
This week, Newsweek reported New York hotels are evicting homeless veterans to house migrants in their place.
This weekend, more than 24 United States military veterans were kicked to the curb by hotels in suburban New York City after a busload of 60 migrants were sent to the town of Newburgh by New York City Mayor Eric Adams. The Crossroads Hotel in Newburgh is just one of several hotels reportedly booting homeless veterans to accommodate incoming migrants. It's reported these hotels make close to $190 a night housing migrants, compared to just $90 a night housing vets. It wasn't just military veterans kicked out of their hotel rooms, but several wedding parties are reportedly scrambling to find new venues or canceling their wedding altogether after these same hotels chose to house migrants last minute rather than keep previously scheduled wedding party guest reservations.
So for the sake of profits, for the sake of money, these hotels are booting out Americans, men and women who served their country and just happen to have fallen on hard times, for the sake of taking care of people who've come into our country illegally. And if you booked a reception at a hotel for your wedding, a year ago, and the hotel cancels your reservation in order to take care of illegal immigrants, what are you going to do? When they tell you that our border is secured, these people are lying to you. They're just bold-faced liars. Not only are they not trying to secure the border, they're actively facilitating the illegal crossing of these people. And it's not just poor people, by the way. We've heard stories of wealthy people who don't want to bother anymore with the legal immigration. I mean, let's face it. If you're trying to get into America legally, and you're on the wait list for years because you want to come in the proper way, you are a chump. And a lot of these foreigners are figuring it out. We're seeing more and more Chinese who apparently have lots of dough paying $20,000, $30,000 to make it in. So when they show up, I've seen pictures and videos of really well-dressed Chinese people. I mean, they're groomed, they're beautiful, and they're standing in line amongst this mass of humanity, of poverty. But they're standing there, they're well-dressed, and they don't have any luggage, all right? The women just have a purse, but apparently they don't have the need to carry around, garbage bags full of their belongings. They'll buy what they need when they get to New York. But they're saying to themselves, listen, why should I wait years in order to come into America illegally when I can just go to Mexico, cross the border illegally, and look, they're not going to boot me out. All they have to do is wait long enough, and they're going to have some kind of amnesty program down the road, and I'm in. So all of you people out there in the Philippines, wherever you are, and you're trying to come into America illegally, and you're waiting years, don't bother. Just show up in Mexico and cross the border. This is the message that our own government is sending. Once you make it onto our soil, you're golden. The cost to our local governments be damned. I mean, they have busloads of people that they're sending to cities all across America, and they're not just the big cities. They're not just New York, Chicago, LA. Okay, they're sending them to every little town across America is going to be affected by this. And again, veterans, this really, really ticks me off. If this doesn't piss you off, I don't know what will. They're kicking men and women who served this country and just happen to fall on hard times out of a hotel to make room for people who don't even speak our language. They've got diseases. They came in illegal. They have no respect for our laws. And listen, I'm as compassionate as the next person, but we cannot afford to take in every person in the world who has fallen on hard times. We just don't have the resources. Even if we had the money, we just don't have the infrastructure. These people come in, they don't speak the language. So right away, they're at a disadvantage. And with the laws we have in place, they're not allowed to work legally, which means they're on welfare. They're on public assistance. And that takes away from the public assistance that's available to our own citizens. And this is happening not just in America, by the way, but all of your first world countries in Europe. It's happening to you guys too. But because of this massive humanity that has already gotten here, and they continue to come in, and we're not going to kick them out, our lives are never going to be the same. The values of our country have changed. And listen, up until now, we've been a democratic society, which means, we've elected these people. Well, I didn't, but a lot of you guys did. You elected, you knew their leftist leaning. You knew their policies. Sanctuary City, great idea. We should be compassionate and let everyone in who wants to come in. Good idea. You're a junkie? Well, rather than helping you get clean, we'll give you more needles. And by the way, when you're done with the needles, don't worry about it. You can just toss it on the ground. Well, what harm could it do? You believe in the idea of a nuclear family? A mother and a father actually married with children, with lots of children? Boy, you are a nut job, because that's not the way you're supposed to be these days. As a matter of fact, if your little boy plays with a Barbie doll on some odd occasion, he might be a girl. We are in bizarro world right now. Bizarro world. But it's not funny. The values that made America great are these days deemed to be irrelevant, outdated, old-fashioned, and immoral. Now, I know I usually talk about financial stuff, right? Well, this is financially related. This is one piece of the puzzle in the globalist agenda, in their one world fantasy land. And part of that includes, the US dollar. We got to destroy the US dollar, man. We can't have it be dominant anymore. So how do we destroy the US dollar? We'll just print. And oh, by the way, if all they can do is print money, and by the way, they don't actually print them anymore. All they have to do, this is digital. They just go on a computer and then digitally create the money, right? So we can send, Ukraine a blank check for whatever they want. $100 billion? Sure, no problem. Meanwhile, we cannot take care of our own veterans. We have 3 million brand new illegal immigrants who now need health care and housing. But if you live on the south side of Chicago and you have a hard time making ends meet, yeah, you know what? We might not be able to get around to you for a while. And you're a big bank who made stupid decisions? Don't worry. We got you covered. Here's $30 billion. Who's going to pay for it? We'll figure that out later on. $31.5 trillion in national debt? Don't worry about it. Our kids will take care of it eventually. So the debasing of our economy, the debasing of our currency, the debasing of our society, it's all part of a grand plan. And you got to hand it to them. These guys have pulled it off. Our lives will never be the same. If you're a freedom-loving, sovereign human being and you enjoy your personal freedoms, we are losing our freedoms every single day. And it's not happening bit by bit anymore. It's happening in chunks. Just wait for that CBDC to come. Just wait for that national digital ID that's coming. We're going to be living in a Soviet-style Stasi police state where they will be asking us for your papers. Show me your papers. And if you don't have your digital ID that has every little aspect of your life on it, you're probably going to be thrown in some kind of a jail somewhere. They're making us slaves. And you have to start doing whatever you can to start securing your own personal sovereignty. So a few things you can do, okay? Reduce your exposure to your bank, put some of your money into gold and silver, and establish streams of passive recurring income. That's a good start. Okay, so I know I went off the beaten path a little bit today. And I hope you'll forgive me for that. I just, today was a therapy session for me. And please, if you don't mind, in the comment section below, I really would like to hear your opinion, your thoughts about what I just said. Am I being unreasonable? Am I being too hard?
Copy that.